Hello and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to this session of inspiring conversations. Let me remind you why inspiring conversation is here. For me, it is all about creating conversations that really matter. And by that, we can figure out or maybe learn something, or you can learn something by listening to people who have been doing exciting stuff in their life. Why did they change their life whenever they felt the need to change their life and stuff? And today, my guest is Hansen Hunt from the US, but I don't know where he is. It will say that he is hopefully on his way, and here he is.
Good morning.
Well. Christmas tree behind you, Hansen, isn't it? It's only 5th of December.
And it's not even a fake background. It's a real tree.
What? Is it alive? No, it's probably it's not a real tree, is it?
Don't insult me. Of course it's a real tree.
Oh, sorry. Well, welcome, Hansen. I thought you had, like, I didn't hear from you, and I was just like, oh my lord, where is
Well, you,
he?
you have to remember it's 7:30 in the morning my time, and I haven't had enough coffee yet. So I had to rush around rush
Ah,
around this morning.
well, I have had plenty of coffee, and I am so stoked to talk to you. So, welcome. I'm like excited that you are here, and I think that we will have a great conversation. We discussed before all of this, we started to like, what could the topic be? And you, from your website and all of the stuff, we created this designing connection, centered experiences, and inclusive communities to foster authentic relationship and build your support systems in life. So that's the topic. But who is Mr. Hansen Hunt? And why do you
Mm.
have like a Nordic name?
We could start there.
Yes, thank
I
you.
am I am not Scandinavian. I am from San Diego, and it's my first name. And my parents grew up with someone who their last name was Hansen, and they grew up surfing and buying their stuff at a surf shop named Hansen's Surf Shop in San Diego. And so I think both of those things planted the seed in their head, and they wanted something different. And now I'm the only person with Hansen as a first name and Hunt as a last name, and people are very confused. They don't know which name to call me.
Well, you could have. I was guessing maybe you were going to turn it to the Germans, because that could also be Hansen. You could also be a Hansen in Germany. So, but
Yeah,
that is exciting. Your parents, like, they must be free spirits or something.
I think they were more in their high school days, but back when it was simpler times, and they're all just surfing every day.
Yeah. So, and that's why Hansen, both you are their son. You remind them of our good times and all of that. But thank you for doing this, and let's dive into this. So, who is Hanson Hunt, and why did I consider talking to you? Why do I think that you have something inspiring to say?
Hmm. I can't
Mm.
I can't read your mind, but I can um,
You
share a
can dive
little
into your mind.
dive into mine. Um, Rewinding a little bit, I'm born and raised San Diego, so one of the few people local here, and I love my life here in San Diego. But there was definitely a period of a large part of my life that was, we'll call it before Healthy Hansen, and that was, I had a lot of adventures and whatnot, but things got rough, and I made a courageous decision to live and thrive instead of continuing down the path I was on. And one of those things that's come out of that decision has been working on my relationships and learning for the first time how to like build a healthy relationship with another individual, with a community, and what that means. And I'm still learning, but in the process, I'm also professionally doing work around that and building communities and bringing people together. I realized for a long time that what I was missing was those support systems like that, those people that you can call when you need help, or um, the in California or in the U.S. especially, you go to the doctors for an appointment, they require that you have a ride home. If you don't have someone in your life, like you can't even get the surgery because they require you to have someone on hand to give you a ride home. So it's like, who is your ride home? Um, and I didn't have that person. And so I intentionally went out to start building relationships and building friendships and looking for support systems. And I chose a sober lifestyle, but I wasn't participating in AA, and so I was still kind of alone. So I found a men's organization called the Mankind Project that I help co-facilitate a local circle here. And I have a really strong foundation of men in my life who support me, and I support them. And then one thing kind of led to the next. I started realizing like this is important. People need this in their life. How can I help others, go find their support system so they're not in my shoes, where I was when I hit rock bottom. And one of those things now that you first met me at was called Connection Crew by Cove. And
Yeah.
I'm connecting all the super connectors of the world, because my superpower is actually bringing people together. But if I can bring together and amplify the impact of all these connection coaches or connection professionals out in the world, then we could all make a bigger impact, teaching the world how to better connect and build better relationships. And so I bring them together. We hang out, we learn together, we grow together, we laugh together. And our next one's in 7 days from now. So the stress begins about planning the next event.
December 12th, and I'm looking forward to it. But is there a before and after? Like, did you go to university, or were you so into life and living life that you did not go to school, or like, did you finish after high
I,
school, or did you
I did.
like how?
I went to a university when I was younger, right out of high school, and studied international business, and then I was always an entrepreneur from a very young age. I started my first business when I was 14 years old, and then never really stopped. And so, but the economy tanked. I got a job in 2008 when I graduated college, and it was a little startup, and they gave me the marketing job. And so I actually went down a career path of marketing for 20 years, and then realized that I was not filled up with joy by that career anymore. So
Yeah.
I made a choice to change and pivot to all things connection. And what that looks like is, different in different communities, but Connection Crew being a big part of my work these days.
But how is it when because my story is that I changed my life in 2020 when after 12 years at the same place, and I was just like, no, I can't do this. I need to do something else. And I have like took a 360, and I was a waiter for 3 years. And then you just like, what makes me happy? So when Healthy Hansen turned up, when you decided to like shift focus and build all this stuff, when was it like, was it
Well,
like, was it freeing, or like, did you, oh, I never wanted to be an international business, blah blah blah. I just want to make people happy, or I just wanted to connect people, or like, how did you discover your path when you became Healthy, Hansen? It's
yeah,
ridiculous to call you.
at first it was just making, for me, it was hitting rock bottom about almost exactly 6 years ago today, and choosing to do something about that. And So the main thing was I wanted to feel and live in a great way. I wanted good energy. I wanted to thrive. I didn't know how to do that, but I knew that's the direction I was going. And so I started trying to take a deeper look at what was draining me and what was hurting me, and what did I need to let go of and what I need to change in my life. So I literally started with going to a coffee shop and journaling every morning, and not stopping journaling until like I feel like I had got out what I needed to get out of my body and mind that morning. And I just started learning about myself. And then from there, I joined that men's organization I talked about, the Mankind Project. And a big part of their work is helping men find their purpose and their mission. And so they have a process, they have a way of helping a man find that. And so I was able to start scratching the surface on like, okay, what should I be doing? How should I be showing up in the world, and what should my work look like? And it took a few years. I was still doing the marketing thing for a few more years. And then I got let go from 3 jobs in a row, and they all lasted about 1 year, and I felt like I was burnt out every time, and it just wasn't working. And so I think the universe was hitting me over the head saying, pay attention, we're giving you a lot of signs. Maybe you should change direction with your career as well. And my personal life was shifting as well with sobriety and getting healthy, and started running marathons. And I started a running team here in San Diego. And so I was like, well, let me think about a career pivot and what would that look like. And so that's what I mentioned before. Like I noticed I was really attracted to bringing people together my whole life. Like I love to. I used to run a conference in San Diego. I ran the San Diego HubSpot user group for over 10 years. I just always gravitated towards bringing people together and building community. And so I was like, what if I can just do that professionally in some way? And that was about 2.5 years ago, where I just completely let marketing go and decided to pivot to all things connection, and just saying yes to what the universe was slapping me in the face with. And I just kept saying yes and getting kind of curious about what's out there. And it's a pretty exciting world, this world of connection.
Oh, it reminds me of the film Yes Man, like where he was like he had to say yes to everything. So that's that's
Yeah,
brilliant.
I love that. And that's kind of what I feel like I'm in right now, because I'm very lucky. I have that opportunity right now just to start saying yes to things. And now, I mean, we just finished up our 3rd conference in 3 months with Connection Crew, partnering with a Culture Con West. And a year ago we couldn't even imagine doing that, and then now we did 3 conferences in the end of the year. So
But it brings me to the question from Rap Bessie. He's in the UK and will be a guest on this LinkedIn Live thingy, inspiring conversation in January. Like the power of many. It doesn't have to be the potential client. It's more of like when, because you mentioned the group, the guy group or the men's group, the power of being with men who are trying to connect, because sometimes life is that we men, we don't cry, we don't like, we have to be strong and we have to be stereotypical something. So how is it like the power of many for you, and then how do you project it onto your project or potential clients? Like it must do something for you, or do you know what I mean, or like what I'm asking or trying to sneak up at?
I think so. I mean, if one of the quotes that one of the proverbs that we say in the running community a lot is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that really started showing me there was something to that. And with the running team I started, where people were individually training for a marathon, and if they were doing it alone, they were struggling, maybe unhappy, and just not as much joy, and they weren't hitting their goals as much. So we built a team for them. So they're still training for a marathon, but now they're doing it with friends. And I can overnight see the success runners on the team were having, because they were training with others. And that same idea is what I'm bringing to Connection Crew or anything else, the men's group. It's like, if we're doing these things alone, we can only go so far. We can only go so fast. We can only be so fulfilled. But if we're doing it together, we can really amplify and, exponentially our impact in the world, our amount of joy and happiness we're feeling. And so when I am now thinking about Connection Crew for 2025, it's like, how can we actually help each other in ways, and even if it's just being a cheerleader and just saying, you got this, and having someone that believes in you and is supporting you, how can we turn that into business growth for that person, and that in their own individual goals? They're all helping the world connect better, but they all have their own business that they need to succeed with. And so now we're looking at, what is that marathon performance training? How do we apply that to connection and training together with this team? And that's part of what we do at the Connection Crew's Joyful Masterclass next week. Like, that's part of what that is. We're exercising this muscle of learning together and sharpening our skills together so we can all grow together.
For me, listening to you about the running group and not being alone and stuff, it's all about belonging. And I don't know if about you, but like many, many moons ago, I'm 29, wink, wink. When we didn't have the social media, we had Discmans or Workmans, or like we had to go out to meet people. We had like being connected, belonging. Like, how is it for you? Because it sounds to me like when you make a community, you belong to something, and then you have something worth striving for, and you are like rooting, like, yeah, you can do it. And it's the, the,
Yeah.
the, the name or the word belonging comes up when I listen to you.
Yeah.
The need to belong.
I think it's, for me, twofold. It's the belonging piece is like, you have a space, and I want to help create these spaces where you feel like that sense of belonging, like you are a part of this. People see you, you feel safe and comfortable, and you have that just like good feeling of belonging
Mhm.
somewhere and being a part of it. But then that wasn't quite enough for me, because I still felt like I belonged in the running community as a whole, but I didn't have the deeper intimate relationships. Like, I didn't have the person who can drive me home from the hospital, right? So it's like I needed the belonging and the support system within it, like the little microcosm of maybe 3 to 5 people within your community that are like your close friends or your support system. And so that's where I noticed the real power came in. Like, you needed the belonging, that's the prerequisite, but then that wasn't enough. You needed to go deeper and help people start forming more intimate relationships. Like, I need a part of the vision is, for people in Connection Crew like you and Kevin Monroe, who have a good, strong relationship between the two of you. Like, I need that relationship to continue growing for Connection Crew to be successful in my vision of it, because you should be friends with all 60 of the members, yes, but and feel like you belong in that group. But I also need 3 of them to be like your rocks. Like, if you have a business, problem or question that you're trying to solve, you can pick up the phone and call and get some feedback or advice from one of your peers or mentors. So that's what I'm really trying to build for people, those support systems within that bigger context of that community and belonging.
But how is it for you? Like, because when you talk about, or you say, intimate relationships, like, because are we men allowed to do it? Because there is this misconception that we can't, like, as I mentioned before, we are not allowed to cry and blah, blah, blah. But to have that one friend, maybe you have it already, like maybe you have one who has followed you from elementary school or something. So but do you have one like that, or did you just start from scratch when you realized that you didn't have anyone to pick you up from the doctor's appointment?
I started from scratch for the most part. There were some people from my past life before Healthy Hansen that I still was working on building a new relationship with. when, before I wasn't sober, they knew me through a different lens. Being sober and running marathons was a new version of me they didn't know. So that was, even though it's the same person, it was a new relationship and I had to kind of rebuild. So those weren't the same type of level of like friendship and support that they used to be. And then I still felt like I had zero, though. I felt like I was starting from scratch. And so I had to be figuring it out. Like I had to go experiment with, and I even had a few people that I thought were those people, and the pandemic happened. And I realized really quickly, like I wasn't invited to any Zoom, parties and or any virtual activities with groups of friends. Like I wasn't in a group of friends that did things together virtually to stay connected through the pandemic. Like I was completely isolated. Luckily, I had my dog, but that was kind of an eye opener for me that I needed to work harder at that, and I wasn't where I wanted to be yet. And now I'm like super grateful to say now, like I feel very supported in all different layers of relationships, right? Everything from my partner at home to in her daughter, to my deep, like tight knit support systems, to my men's group that helps me with emotional support, and to the running community and belonging in that community, and connection crew and professional belonging. So now I've done the work. I've gotten to a good place, and now I just get to enjoy and grow together with these people.
But it is ongoing struggle or work. But heal yourself. Like you, it starts with you. You
Yeah.
have to go out. You have to, because it was funny when I started like on LinkedIn in 2020 February, where I met Kevin Monroe and people. I participated in every meeting that, like, if I saw a meeting, yeah, I would participate in this. But then the Zoom fatigue came in. But still, I met some brilliant people, and that's like how you, but you have to also take chance,
Mm-hmm.
because I participated in something Kevin Monroe was doing, and it was called Human Firsts. And I
Yeah.
was just like, after the first meeting, I was just like, no, 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 no. Now I am in some cult, and this is just the moon department from South Korea or whatever. But then I realized, give it a chance. And then I met some fantastic people. When you lower your guard, but you have to heal yourself or go and do stuff. You can't, nothing comes to you.
Yeah. The big aha moment for me with that was when I was let go from my last marketing job. About a week or two later, um, there was a workplace culture community called Culture First that I had got integrated into their online community during the pandemic, because I was interested in culture and how that can improve my marketing teams that I managed. And so I was involved, and I had met some people, and they invited me to an in-person San Diego meetup. And here I am, a head of marketing at a tech company, like type of career marketer. And it was a circle of maybe 20 or so workplace culture people, very different careers, different personalities. I didn't know anyone. And they invited me, and I was just like, you know what? I don't know what is wrong with this marketing career, but I'm burnt out, and maybe I should take a chance, take this risk on this circle. And that's where I ended up meeting Sarah, my girlfriend, and Gary Ware, and three other or so community members that are in Connection Crew now. These people have become close friends, or my girlfriend, or helped shape me in my career path. And they've like that one in-person meetup had so many valuable relationships. And it was the first time where I walked into a space and I was like, oh, I belong here. Like this feels good. So without even knowing anyone, I knew I felt like I belonged.
So maybe you can ask like answer the question that Rabasi he answered, like he Connection Crew, love the picture that it paints. What would be the one achievement you feel proud at this stage, yours or one in the crew?
Ooh,
Yes,
I can do
thank you
both.
very much.
I can answer. Yeah,
Yes.
Rab, I appreciate the question. The achievement for me is we've been able to mobilize and get 13 to 15 connection crew members to go in person at 3 different conferences in the last 3 months. And that was a lot of work to get people together. But what was so cool is most of us had never met in person. And we not just met for the first time or second time at these conferences, but we actually collaborated to amplify connection at these conferences. Like we had a mission. We were working on something awesome together and impactful together, and it worked. And so kind of seeing that come from this idea of Connection Crew 2 years ago to now we're in person as a team working together on something, like that just was a beautiful kind of full cycle thing for me to be proud of. And then the things that happen in the crew for crew members, like bring up our friend Kevin Monroe, who's very good at reflecting back to me how things are going with him and his relationships he's met through Connection Crew. And there's been multiple collaborations that crew members have done things together outside of the Connection Crew because they met at the crew and then they went and built something together. And Kevin's done that with a few other guys or people in the crew. And he always, sends me a voicemail or calls me on the phone and lets me know, hey, you're not going to believe this. I met this person because of the crew. And then they introduced me to this person. And now we're working on this business. And I love seeing that collaboration come through. And thankfully, Kevin's very good about reporting back and letting me know of the successes. So,
Well, I met Steve Hayes.
Yeah.
He was the first man I interviewed on the Inspiring Conversations, and I met him at the Connection Crew, and we just were talking, and then let's speak, like meet again, and so that was fun.
But yeah, and Steve's one of my old relationships that I kept around. Yeah. I've known Steve for over 10 years.
So it's funny, and I think I will try to get Rab to show up on next Thursday because I think he would like this. But now, because you were thinking, sorry, I have to cough. When you were thinking about and pondering what you are, you wrote on your wall, I'm a connection designer. I design intentional connection experiences and inclusive communities to help people find and build their support systems. I love connection designer. It's brilliant. So when you were sitting there and thinking about this, why did it end in this?
Well, one, I knew that my deep, like the goal for me, or the big picture is like that team, that tight knit support system that the running team has, that my men's group has, that I'm trying to build for Connection Crew members, that you've got your people, you've got the person you could pick up the phone and call and ask for help. Like that's the kind of the vision, the end result, the outcome we want. But how I do that professionally and show up each day, what am I doing and thinking about? I love looking at something and saying, how can I design this? How can I engineer and amplify connection at each one of these moments? And that's why it was really fun for me to partner with these conferences, because I can look at their agenda and just be like, okay, here's how we can integrate and amplify connection in these different moments. Like, what can we do at the lunch tables? So that way people are having intentional conversations rather than just small talk, and people can dive deeper into more meaningful relationships. So yes, I'm building community. And so I kind of fit under the label of community founder, community manager, but that doesn't feel right for me. It's more like I like the engineering connection and designing it into spaces, into experiences.
But how is it if I take it, like we have talked about the belonging and you are bringing people together, and this podcast or this live event is called Inspiring Conversations. Like how, because by talking to each other, by meeting each other, and you have taught me stuff in the Connection Crew, like you are very framed, and this is like I can learn from you because I am very like laid back, and I'm just like, oh yeah, let's see how it goes. So when you see this in people, when sorry, when you see this in people, it must make you a little bit proud.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think you're that's kind of what I get out of it is the sense of accomplishment and pride that I see. I mean, one of the cool things at the conference was in Vegas that we just went to was sometimes I can just like stand back and just watch the magic happen. You know, if you bring a room full of connection super connectors and connection professionals into a conference, the theory was, you know, that's going to do something just naturally. That's going to change the culture of the environment, and I can just stand back and watch that happen without actually doing anything. Just bringing the people together had a powerful impact. And then I love their relationships forming, like, and their spark that just lights up between two people when they meet for the first time and realize, I mean, it was crazy. Like two of our members in the connection crew had never met, and they realized they were from like the same exact city in like Eastern Europe, and they made their way to Southern California in their lives. And so like just these little sparks that happen, and then, you know, those people are going to now start collaborating and growing together.
Yeah, or the food you like, or the music you like. There are so many things that we can have together. But again, rap, my best supporter in this inspiring conversations. How does having a connection help you become accountable and focused? Because if you're alone and you don't have anything, then it's so easy to slip back and just, oh, poor me, I don't have anyone.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have this sense of, yeah, I have to do this, or else the connection crew will not, it will falter. If I don't show up to the running thing, whatever,
Yeah.
then they maybe will not run. Like, how is it, and how does it agree with you? Because I don't know, before, prior, and then healthy Hansen came. Where are you? Is there a difference in those two people?
I mean, yes, and I'm the same person. I just was covered up by a bunch of sludge before that I've uncovered and slowly been digging my way out to see who I really am underneath. And but I love, Rab, the question of being accountable and how that is integrated here. That's kind of the big that's the thing. Honestly, you nailed it on the head. Like it's we we need each other to, like, I need to know that you're depending on me, depending on you. Like, so that's going to motivate me and motivate you to do what we said we were going to do for each other, to build connection crew, to form those relationships, to go on this mission together of helping the world better connect and heal from the loneliness epidemic. That's a huge mission. Like, we're going to need to be accountable for each other to do some great things. And it's on my mind. I don't know. Our culture is not okay with holding each other accountable and supporting each other in that way. And so I'm very curious about how to do that better in this world, and how to show up and help someone and build a stronger relationship with someone because I help hold them accountable and they do that for me. So still figuring that out.
But how is it when you do people take a step back when you start? You know, can you be? Oh, this might sound stupid, but do people find you aggressive, or because you, like, you have this passion, of connecting and putting people coming, like, put people together, and like, and then, but you know, the introverts, the extroverts, and like whole range of people. Nobody, we are not one size fits all in this world. So how do they receive you? How do they, when you start, because you are a passionate guy.
Hmm. I That's a challenge for me. Because I definitely can be abrasive to some people. And one of the ways I look at that now is that I am not meant to be everyone's best friend. And so, but I can build a space, I can build a community or a team where people can meet other people on that team that become their close support system. It doesn't always have to be me. And so I might not jive with them as much as they jive with someone else in the group, right? So my goal is to build that container, build that team structure that is inclusive, can give them that safe space to meet people and be themselves and feel like they belong, without the expectation that like I am their bestie. And that's okay. Not everyone's going to love me as much as some others, and vice versa. And so I am still working on being less abrasive, but but in the meantime, you know, everyone's going to kind of have a match, like, right? Same thing with like romantic partners. Like you don't really have that spark with everyone. So,
Yeah.
you're not meant to. And
And
that's okay.
sometimes the unlikely thing happens that, well, I can only name me and my wife. We are totally so far apart. And I was just today joking about if we went to a party, like she was still taking her coat off when I knew everybody who was there, and I knew how many kids they have. I knew like the jobs and everything, and she was still taking her coat off, and she just, how do you do this? And then she walked into the kitchen, and she felt best there because there was the small intimate conversations where I
Yeah.
thrived on meeting people.
And you've seen how we do that in the Connection Cruise Masterclass series, right?
Yeah,
We go into breakout rooms with just two people. So that
yeah,
way the extroverts are happy because they're excited to meet anyone. So they're excited, but it makes it safer for someone who maybe identifies as an introvert, and they just only have to build a relationship with one person, not a group of 5 people in a breakout room. And so that really allows, um, I don't know, a more comfortable space for all walks of life to come in and learn how to build relationships together.
but there is an agreement, like when you accept the agreement that you will go into uh, a room, you are only two. The only complaint, and I think I know you where I'm going with this. The only complaint is that we are on a roll, and then all of a sudden we are in a big room, and we are just like, no, what? I was in the middle of a sentence. Because
I've got to leave you wanting more in that relationship. So then you're excited to follow up afterward.
oh, you're a devious man. I can hear. But how is it when okay, I think that we will put the masterclass in the under the event on LinkedIn, because I think everybody should come because it's so much fun and you meet unbelievable people, and it's just,
That's the
you never
goal.
know. You never know because, as you were saying, when you went to this thing at your last job, like you met your partner, you have met some guy, like you never
You gotta take
know.
that risk, and
Yes,
a lot of times there's going to be a pretty rewarding relationship that comes out of it.
yeah, because nowadays people like sorry for me swearing, the bloody phones. If you don't know the number, then you're just like, okay, but it could be a potential like work relationships or a new friend or something, because and people are just, no, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to motivate them.
Yeah.
And that's part of the mission with the Connection Crew. We are building the team of the people who teach the world how to connect, so that way we can go out in the world and say, hey, look, people, you got to be thinking about relationships more intentionally and approaching them, and it's not just going to happen to you. You got to go out and practice these, exercise these muscles that we've lost. And I don't know how long it took us to lose these skills, but we don't have them anymore. And so if we can get more people in the Connection Crew, these teachers, if you will, the coaches, going out and doing better and growing their business, that means they're teaching more people in the world how to be more intentional
Mhm.
relationships. And then they might feel motivated to go take that risk, reach out and invite someone to dinner, host a gathering in their community, or just get to know their neighbor. I mean, that's such a small thing that many people don't do. They don't even know their neighbors' names.
Big ideas or something, an idea can elevate to a huge thing, but you don't know if that will happen unless you start small.
Mm. Yeah.
Sometimes people are so, like, they're always thinking about the end game or the end goal instead of, okay, ooh, this is exciting. If I get only 3 people with me, and then okay, 4 people, then that turns into 8, 60, like it multiplies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always this, if you have an idea, find a like-minded person and just see how it goes.
Yeah, that's the approach I'm taking now. I just say
Because
yes, yes to experimenting, yes to
yeah,
seeing how it goes.
and as you said, and it's important that you don't have to be best friends with everybody.
No, there's definitely people
That
that don't
is
like me, and that's okay.
like, why should you be a friend with if somebody you don't like or you dislike or whatever? Why should you, like, you have the sense of intuition who is going to be good for you. So, but let's dive into the future. Healthy Hanson 2.0. What will happen? Where do you see connection crew? Like, how, does it get bigger, or do you have another ideas? Can I just go into your brain a little
Mm.
bit? The future Healthy Hansen.
A couple big things that are percolating right now. One is the connection and belonging space. It's not quite an industry of its own yet. But workplace culture really has become its own thing, and so has mental health.
Yeah.
And so I think we are looking at investing in making connection and belonging its own thing. And how does Connection Crew get involved with that and support that, whether that's our own events, or thought leadership, or what, bringing the right people together to make it a bigger subject matter that people are coming together for the specific purpose of connection and belonging, and not just because they're also a workplace culture consultant. That's one thing. The other thing is the whole conversation's been about really building your support systems, your team, and so evolving the Connection Crew to the next phase of what that looks like to be teammates with each other. So that's probably more short term. What's going to happen in the near future is taking some steps around that community, and whether that's where we live together online and what platform we use, to how we co-work together virtually, what tools we use to collaborate with, and how we go to market and sell ourselves, our businesses and our services together. All of that's kind of top of mind right now. And there will be more
So,
events. There will be more conferences in 2025. It's been fun, so we're going to do more of that.
but now you're only based in the US. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself like McDonald's? Will you franchise the Connection Crew all over the world?
Not sure yet, but there's definitely, because of Cove, and their support on this mission, they're based in Cyprus. So
What?
just naturally we have, how did you not know this? Come on, you need to get to know the Cove team.
No, because
Um,
I knew he was like he had a Greek name, but I thought he was in the US. So he
no,
is in Cyprus.
well, actually, Giannis lives in Athens, and then commutes over
Yeah.
to Cyprus with the team.
Well, it's they are almost like in the backyard of each other, so that's
No,
but okay.
so we have just
Yes.
that natural influence of being, we have more Europeans in the group now, and we're kind of starting from a global perspective. So I don't imagine it's strictly US in the future.
Yeah. But one thing came to mind when you say that, like you have more Europeans in the group. Do you feel, is there a difference? Like, do you sense a different approach to the like whatever we are talking about, or
Mm.
are we all like one size fits all?
I think we're all humans, and loneliness is a human problem that translates to all cultures and languages,
Yep.
and that's what we're setting out to really have a positive effect on, and heal from this loneliness epidemic. So, how someone approaches connection, we're building a diverse community of different lenses into connection. So that's not, that'd be great to have more approaches that are different from each other in the group. That's what we're going for. We're not just all community managers, for example, or mental health professionals or workplace culture consultants. Like, we're all over the board, and now connection designers is a part of who's in the group.
It's brilliant. But it is. when I read the report, or like when the top guy in the health industry in the US,
Surgeon General, yeah.
yes, thank you, when he declared a national epidemic of loneliness, like I was just like, say, what is that possible? Like, can you do that? And come to think of it, everybody get lonely, but we are in a world where we are so disconnected that we need connection.
Mm-hmm.
And like it or not, you you need connection. You need another human being because it's uplifting. You get motivated. You get, like, there are so many things.
And it seems simple, and it seems like a simple thing to do, but it's not.
Yes.
It's actually not anymore because we lost those skills. We stopped
Yeah.
exercising those skills. We stopped going to groups and joining clubs that we got our social bonds from. And so we got to learn how to do that again. We got to learn how to. I'm forgetting his name, but the gentleman who asked the question about accountability, like we actually
Rapasi.
rep. Yeah. So we forgot actually that how to help hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and it's so uncomfortable now for people that they're afraid of it. They're afraid of hurting someone else's feelings and then them feeling uncomfortable. So they just don't even try. So it's we got a long ways to go on building those muscles again.
We were also talking about getting volunteers. It here in Iceland. I don't know if it how it is in your neck of the woods. That people are always starting to talk like, "What's in it for me?"
Mm, yeah,
People are not back in the days where if you wanted something, you did it because it made you happy.
yeah,
It gave you pleasure, like it gave you something. It gives you a sense of worthiness, belonging, and whatever. But now it's just you have to get paid for doing stuff.
yeah. And luckily, there's people realizing that they were
That is
wrong
not the way.
with that,
Yes,
like,
yes,
and they're not finding joy with that model. Like there's
yeah,
luckily, like the Surgeon General's report, one of the suggestions that they have out of it is like getting involved with community service and being more of service to find that connection and joy and belonging. And that's been a huge winner for me. Like the men's organization I'm a part of, I give back, I
yeah.
volunteer with that organization and help staff their events for other men to come into. And that's hugely rewarding. I mean, I'd say one of the biggest things in my life that I do. So.
Is there anything else that comes to mind, or like, because we are almost at the end of the discussion. So, is there anything that you come to
Mm.
mind? And do you have any success story that you like? Because it's always nice to hear about something like which warms your heart. Like you met somebody who was at the lowest, or like, and then like, do you have any like this? Because one thing is what you did, and I applaud you, like, because that it is hard. It's nobody said it was easy. It's really easy to go that path, but to build yourself up again, that is the hard thing.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to have, like, if somebody, like I say that uh, Kevin Monroe, yet again for the thousandth time or 100th time we mention him, like he is just being in his presence teaches you something.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable. Some people just have this thing.
Yeah.
So do you have, like, in your time now, have you heard anybody say, "Oh, Hansen, oof, best thing ever"?
I
No
think
names, but it's more like
the
when you get the clap on your shoulder, like,
yeah,
did good.
for me, you never really know the ripple effects
Yeah,
of your work in life, but there are moments of someone reflecting it back to you that shows you you're on the right path. And the way I show up in the world now versus before Healthy Hansen is as a vulnerable, masculine, connecting, loving man. And when I show up in that way and I share my story, or I tell people about my sobriety journey, or about how I'm involved in a men's organization, people reach out and say, wow, thank you so much. Like, that made an impact on my life. Or I'm exploring sobriety, or I got sober and I got a message from someone who I went to college with. And he's like, it's been 1 year since I got sober, thanks to your blog that you wrote. Like, it's, so I see those ripple effects very seldomly. Like, they come through once in a while, and some people share them with me, but I know they're there, and it's really powerful how you impact others' lives. And the people in the connection crew are doing great things together. And even if I don't know about it, but some of the crew do reflect back and tell me. But I just know those ripple effects are powerful. And so we're spreading that connection energy, we're spreading that joy. And that's going to have an impact in the world. And that's what's going to fill up my tank, knowing that that's happening.
So the next connection is December 12th. The masterclass is from 10 to 11:30 a.m. Pacific summertime, Pacific street time. What does the S, what does it stand for?
Pacific Standard Time. Yeah. And I can put it in the chat here. I'm putting it in the private chat. I don't know how to send it to the main chat. The link to invite people to. So feel free to add that.
I will just copy it, and then we can put it somewhere, because I think everybody should be there, or like experience it, because it's just fun. It's fast paced, and then, as you say, you want to meet that person again, don't you?
Absolutely.
Or
you're left wanting more. Or even if you didn't get that, which is, it happens, you don't connect with someone immediately. At least what you're doing is practicing those skills, and that you can take back into your life. And I, for Thanksgiving dinner with my family for the first time, like, led a whole gratitude activity that was super powerful for my family. Like, so those little tools you learn in the masterclass can really make a powerful impact on the people around you.
Yeah.
All right. I got
you like 1 hour. It is. Oh, hello, partner. She doesn't know that she is in picture.
Nope.
Your girlfriend.
Yep.
But Hansen, I knew this would be good. It's just brilliant, because
thank you for the invitation.
Well, you're welcome, and I truly hope that people will come to the session on Thursday and just keep on being fantastic. And next week, I have also an inspiring conversation, but the time is perfectly aligned with the masterclass. So I will talking about the 4 days work week next week.
Wonderful.
With Alex Sun Jung Kim Pang. If I like my name, I have to check this again. But thank you very much, Hansen, and we will meet again soon. Thank you very much.